It's rare that students in today's generation truly know the history of San Felipe del Rio Consolidated Independent School District.
Hey, did you know that 50 years ago, Del Rio had 2 separate school districts?
Really?
Yeah, so there was the San Felipe Mustangs and the Del Rio Wildcats. Then in 1971, they were forced to consolidate and became San Felipe del Rio CISD.
Wow, I didn't know something like that existed in Del Rio.
Same. Look, check it out. I found some yearbooks from when they consolidated.
I wonder what that first year of consolidation was like.
This story is about that era. It was a new school year and a new era. Students from the Del Rio and the San Felipe side would experience consolidation for the first time. It wasn't an easy year for either side, but they both had to come together and make decisions that would affect the district we know today.
Hi, my name is Julio Ramos. I'm a local person. I was born and raised in Del Rio. I worked there at the high school for all those years between 65 and 71 when consolidation hit, and so my job then was to bring those two student councils together and make some decisions, put certain things on the ballot for the student body to vote on, and go from there.
But it wasn't easy. At the time, there were 2 sets of students who participated in the student council, members from the San Felipe side and members from the Del Rio side. Because consolidation was already a controversial topic at the time, the students didn't see eye to eye on a lot of the decisions.
We did the blue and white pretty easily at the beginning of the year, but we were not allowed to change the mascot name right away. So that first football season, it was strictly Wildcats, Del Rio Wildcats. And of course, the San Felipe students felt left out.
It was interesting to say the least, trying to get all these things done as far as the different choosing mascots, school colors, so on and so forth. And the little intricacies that were involved on a day-to-day basis is, it was something else.
The problems started creeping in a little bit when we get together. And I don't want to dwell too much on it, but I have this one story that I remember is we seemed to have trouble when we had assemblies.
I don't remember very many conflicts until we got to the homecoming Pep Rally, and that was a booger.
And on that last Pep Rally, we had the band playing the old Del Rio High School song. And our students in Del Rio from San Felipe started singing their song. And so there was that conflict, which caused students to start shouting at each other and being verbally abusive, of course. And so pretty soon it erupted into an all-out fist fight. This all happened in the gym area.
Of course, when you get that many kids together in the high school gymnasium and you have 2 sets of cheerleaders and 2 principals, and everything, and of course, we're playing under Del Rio High at that point. I remember how it started, why it started, and I remember the chaos that happened.
At the time, for some reason, those pep rallies were staged such that all the students were on the gym floor standing. They weren't in the bleachers. And so that caused for a lot of body-to-body, shoulder-to-shoulder contact. So anyway, it erupted into a major battle. I know that, and I can only imagine that there were other people involved in trying to settle them down, but we worked hard to try to get them settled. And we did to some extent, but they started moving out from the gym area onto the cafeteria area. And it erupted again out there.
Some of my friends that were in the medical areas, they were getting ready to go study nursing. They said that the emergency room was pretty packed after every Pep Rally, because kids would get hurt and get sent to the hospital. So we looked for ways to try to get everyone to cooperate and become one.
I remember that night at the football game, the entire stadium was surrounded with DPS officers, National Guard troops, so on and so forth, for that one football game. And so it wasn't the crowning highlight of our senior year, so to speak, but it was the most memorable for me, aside from the other little incidents that happened.
1971 wasn't an easy year for the students of Del Rio High School. Administration needed to figure out a solution to help the students come together.
So almost immediately, the administration asked that we start doing something about changing the mascot name.
Specifically, when we were in the student council meetings, Mr. Ramos was there, and actually he was one of my science teachers that year. And it was, you had the San Felipe kids and Del Rio kids, and any item that would come up, it would be split right down the middle.
The students from Del Rio, the old Del Rio school, submitted all cat-related mascot names, and the San Felipe students offered horse-related names, stallions and broncos and stuff like that. And so we tried to start that up as an election on those names, but we knew right away that it wasn't going to work. We were going to go back to the same old thing because there was so much friction.
Having a difficult time trying to come up with a mascot, Ramos requested that both superintendents review the mascots that both sides had come up with.
They rushed over and they said, this is not going to work, so start all over. So we asked the student body for more nominations. I said, well, this time don't include any cats or horses. So sure enough, we got a slew of them. We got at least 24 nominations.
We were pushed to get this thing done. And eventually we got it done. Whether we wanted it that way or not, that's the way it turned out.
With a list of about 24 mascot recommendations from both sides of the student council, Mr. Ramos was ready to present them to the board. The top three options were the Blue Devils, Lakers, and the Rams.
The board said, Blue Devils? We don't go with Blue Devils. And so at the time, of course, I think this part of the world was very big on goats and sheep. In fact, they called it at one time the wool and mohair capital of the world. That's how big that industry was. And so Rams, in the minds of the board members, was the obvious choice. And so that's how the name Rams came to be.
Throughout the school year, there were many meetings held to make important student culture decisions. Student council consisted of the top students from both sides of the aisle.
They took that charge well in hand and did a very good job. I think I mentioned at the ceremony here that they were like the people in the eye of the storm, because everything around them was always critical. It was always full of tension, and they kept on with what they were supposed to do, and I've always been real proud of that.
We wanted to hear their thoughts on what they think of SFDR CISD today. We also asked Rudy Rodriguez, former Wildcat, and Linda Polanco, former Mustang, their thoughts as well.
Well, the way I see it now, it's great, because I see a lot of fans now at the Ram Stadium, and and everybody's together. I went with them not too long ago when they had the homecoming. Man, it felt good. And I was there with some San Felipe, my friends, one of my football players that were there. It made me feel real good. It even feel like if I wanted to play, when I ran right with them. I'm glad we're all one team now.
I think my thoughts is the best thing that happened. But I see a lot of improvement that the students have from what we were. When we were, I'm thinking when I was in high school, I wish we were consolidated in my years, because we lost a lot of things that we could have had. But I think it's great that what happened, the consolidation. It is the great thing that happened to Del Rio and San Felipe.
I'm amazed still to see a lot of the designs that we picked way back in 1971. Because I look at my nieces and nephews, you know, their high school graduation rings, and I still see the same designs that we put out, and the coloring and everything. So I do feel a bit of pride that we accomplished something that is still being used.
Well, they took a bad situation, economic and whatever we wanted to call it, and did the best they could with what they had. Now we're progressing, and we still need to catch up in a few areas, but we're a lot better off than what we were back then. I believe there's more avenues available to kids nowadays than we had when we were there. Of course, technology, so on and so forth. But it has to evolve. It has to evolve.
I really appreciate the effort, the work, the dedication, and the progress that I've seen with the school district. I think that some of the difficult political tensions that arose from consolidation and continued for some time have been difficult. But I like what I'm seeing now, and I like that this building is so great. I think I mentioned earlier to Mr. Luna, at least, that I was a principal here for 3 years in this building. And so I know what you all have done to this building and for this building. It's an amazing place. So yes, I'm very happy to see Del Rio minds at work like this.